Belle Collective, Season 6, Episode 4. Trouble in Belle-adise. So we pick up where we left off at the party where Letitia and Amanda was trying to, figure out what was going on with Glenn. And Glenn in the background trying to figure out what's going on with the stud because she, confronting him like, yeah, I saw all the messages. You was all in her DM and this and this and that. You can't lie. You can't lie. So he like, oh man, they about to get me. I'm the bad guy. You look at her. She about to believe Amanda, this and this and that. So all the fellas just tell him, just stay calm. We can handle this. Letitia and Amanda come up and basically confront Glenn together just to be like, okay, so what's up with the messages? The ones that Letitia saw were messages from the past. So this is old stuff, okay? Like 2002, like 22, 21, 23, 24, whatever. The most recent one happened to be February of this year, 2025, right? But she talking about, oh, we took this vow, we was going, start over in February in the new year. So if he did this in February, obviously this is violation. Okay. So they go confront Glenn, obviously saying, oh, I ain't do none of this, do none of that. Obviously it's old stuff. He did admit that, okay, he might have did text her or DM her at some point because she said, listen, I just want to clear my name. So am I lying about anything? So he like, okay, I admit, right, we did do a little couple messages, but that was it. Like we ain't meet up. We ain't hook up. We ain't do nothing. Kiss, touch, nothing like that. Okay. So they like, all right, we just gonna, leave it at this for now. So like the next day, Letitia's all sad and down and depressed. So Maria and Carrie go over there to try to cheer her up a little bit, give her some support. And they just talking about the party. And it was mainly, it's not necessarily Glenn and his issues because, she been there, done that. It was more of Latrice, because this is Latrice's party. This is Latrice's friend. So did she just set me up like this? Like, I don't know. I can't trust her. I don't, you know what I'm saying? It's just a little fishy, something going on. And the questions of the game was like, dang, now that I think about it, they was all pointed at towards me and Glenn. Like they making fun of me and my marriage and all this stuff, right? So, Marie like, girl, I don't told you. I don't told you. Uh, don't be trusting that girl. Like, obviously they is cool, but it's like, girl, I remember what she did to me, so I just telling you, you can't trust her. Carrie is over there with Carrie mostly is just giving her props for just, the way she handled things. She ain't really blow up. She ain't try to attack the girl, nothing. We talk and that's how we do things, right? And it is what it is. Marie called her what, a snake in her grass? Talking about Latrice called her a snake in her grass. But we'll see. And of course, speaking of Latrice, she over there with Amanda. They taking a walk, having coffee or whatever. I don't know, but talking about Cliff a little bit. He's still at the condo above the Taste, the restaurant, so he ain't home yet. Their relationship is still a little rocky, but she working on it. Okay. When it pertains to this party, Latrice already know, like, dang, they all about to blame me. I already know it, but it's not really my fault. That wasn't my intentions. I didn't want, I'm not trying to break up their marriages or anything like this. Plus, Cliff and Glenn is friends, so it's like messing up their relationship because, he ain't answering Cliff calls. So, now Cliff is mad. So, Amanda's trying to basically apologize to her, like, look, that's not what I was trying to do at the party. Latrice tried to ask her, like, well, I mean, was it the alcohol flowing? Like, what, you know what I'm saying? What made you just do that? And I guess Amanda was just maybe just triggered some type of way, but she didn't mean to basically ruin the party like that and break up, like bust open this can of worms that now Latrice got to be the one to put it back together, not Amanda. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't in this collective group. This is her group. You just is here. And at the same time that she trying to apologize, may I add, she gonna throw in some more information, talk about Glenn at whatever party, maybe for, was it the opening for Taste or just a random day at Taste? He just so happened to put his hand around her waist and all this stuff, and maybe somebody else saw and they kind of, brushed it off and, played it off or something to that nature. But all back in February, right? I'm like, girl, how is you trying to apologize to something, but then just turn right back around to bring some more stuff up? Like, Latrice don't want to know nothing because now, see, because now she back in the pot because now I know this information. I ain't said nothing, so now when it come out, it's gonna look like, oh, I'm the one that set it all up. So that's not what Latrice wants, but she do know that, like, dang, like, me and Letitia, we might not have been the bestest of friends, but now I know that our friendship it's going down. So we get to talk to Carrie, and her husband name is Matt. Is Matt? Yeah. Um, he over there working, doing like training for baseball or something, helping out a player or trainee, we'll say, coach. I don't know, something to that nature. But they in the little, shoot, I don't even know what they call it, the little baseball place, right? Um, Carrie shows up with some smoothies, hey husband, trying to spend some more time, get that in. And just talk about the party and things like that. It was a bit shocking for them. They might not be used to uh, random drama when they go to places and we supposed to be having fun and all this stuff. But dang, caught us off guard. We just sit there like listening. We new here. We don't know all the stuff. So, a little shocker for them, but they just a little bit glad, like, dang, at least, then we ain't got them type of problems in our marriage, right? We got other problems. And speaking of problems, Matt's would be, well, we already know Carrie's, which would be, she worked too much, always on her phone, um, just not giving her husband too much time, like she's supposed to, right? He's like, oh, well, me, I be tuning people out. Like, I got all these people in my ear, kids, wife, work, you, who, do, whatever. So eventually, at some point, it just goes wah, 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 wah. I get Charlie Brown ears, and I just don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, and with doing that, obviously, I'm not listening and I'm not paying attention myself, so that would be frustrating in a marriage because obviously she ain't getting to hear you, you ain't getting to hear her. So communication, bye. But they gonna work it out and work on it. Marie and Cedric, okay, so they dating and all this stuff, back to dating. Um, I believe she did have her wedding ring back on her finger. Um, like she actually kept it. I mean, I guess. I'm say right. I guess. But hanging out. I think they're at his house, and she was just pointing out, like, goals for this relationship is to eventually have you move in back with me, and we'll be a family with our daughter and all this stuff, and maybe eventually move on to remarrying each other. Maybe in the future, but baby steps. First step will be coming in the house, right? So with that, she was telling him to get rid of the bed. I think that was just one of the things. Like, okay, if you ain't gonna move back in the house, then you might need to get rid of that bed because Lord knows all the crap you've been doing without me, right? So, and we need to start fresh and new, okay? And it's cool, they working on it. It's steps because it looked like he was a bit hesitant to get back in the house. Which, if she, pay attention to the signs, because why we supposed to be working on this? You don't want to rush back, but let them take his time. Let them do what they do. I'm sure they're gonna get there. Um, Carrie and Matt, they actually do get to spend a little bit of time together in this episode. She puts together a date night at home, got rid of the kids at grandma's house or whatever. So she set up the backyard, nice and cute, have dinner and all this stuff. And, all right. So Glendale and Letitia. So this last clip, they was at home, and she's still down in the dumps, still sad, still depressed. He out there trying to work on the house a little bit, talking to her dad, I think it was. Like, dang, we'll try to, what I'm going to do to fix this relationship. You know, this kind of shows that it's really not healthy for her, for these people, should I say, the Bells, in particular, to be always bringing up Glenn and his infidelities and coulda, woulda, shouldas that he might be doing or not doing. Okay. Because for her, at this point, she's breaking down because it's all confusing. That's how I see it. It's just all confusing. I'm trying to move forward, start a whole new, forget about all that stuff that you done did. You ain't do nothing, put my blinders on. And then here go this girl, man, to talk about some old stuff, messing with my head. Like, nobody likes to be messed with in the mind. Like, that's why people hate gaslighting for one, because how you gonna tell me and I know? You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. Don't do that. I mean, you work on somebody with a weak mind, but it ain't gonna catch you. You ain't gonna catch me. But Glenn, I can't believe he's literally blaming Latrice for starting the whole mess. Like, oh, it's all her fault. She played in the game and she did this. She bought that girl there. And like, no, Glenn. Okay, you don't put blame on other people. You just supposed to be comforting your wife to tell her that you ain't doing nothing, that you cool and you faithful and all this stuff. Like, But either way, blaming it on them ain't gonna do nothing but start a fight, I'm sure, at some point, because him and Cliff ain't really been talking. And, obviously the ladies ain't talking, but the relationship part, I just feel so bad for her at this point, because I'm like, dang, it's really hurting her. And hopefully Glenn saw this and was like, dang, maybe I do need to stop doing what I'm not saying he was doing anything, because like I said, this was old stuff that this girl is bringing out, old stuff. But they need to just stop, because like I said, it's messing with her head, and it ain't gonna be good in the long run. Okay, like, it ain't gonna be good at all. Like, they gonna take, divorce, all this stuff. She do got a kid. Like, we don't need mental breakdowns for people just for Lord. Anywho, but that was episode short and sweet. I gotta get to Potomac, so I'm late on everything this week. So let me get to Potomac, because tomorrow, what's the day? Yep, tomorrow we got Salt Lake City, and that's gonna take a lot. But anywho, talk to y'all later. Thanks for watching.